everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your number one news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the new Marvel Legends 6-inch Captain America Civil War Figure 3 pack, which contains figures of Spider-Man, Battle Damage Captain America, and Battle Damage Iron Man, all from the Civil War movie. Now, these 6-inch figures come packaged in the same style packaging we've been seeing with all the Marvel Legends. It is obviously wider since it contains 3 figures, but you've got the black with the Legends series up at the top, the figures clearly displayed in the window box packaging, and then down below you have the Captain America Civil War movie logo and the names of the figures. On one side of this, you've got artwork for Iron Man, and then on the other side, you've got artwork for Captain America, and then on the back of the packaging we have a look at all 3 figures, and then a brief bio in multiple languages. Okay, so let's get these open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figures outside of the packaging along with the other contents. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the Captain America and the Iron Man figures because these are the exact same figures that were previously released, only with some added deco for battle damage and some added accessories. So I will point out the differences between these and the regular released figures, but again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on these 2 figures. And then we'll look at the Spider-Man figure in more detail. So we'll start off looking at the Captain America figure. As I mentioned, this is the exact same sculpt that we previously got. The blue is a little bit darker on the regular release version than on this one, and then you've got the blast effects here on his chest that kind of cover up half his chest over here and his shoulder and this side of his mask. But otherwise, as far as sculpt goes, these 2 figures are exactly the same. So again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over things like articulation and everything. I reviewed this figure a month or 2 ago, so you can check that out if you want to see that. But the figure does come with a few extra accessories that the regular version didn't have. Well, I guess I should say one other accessory that the regular figure didn't have, because the regular figure did come with a shield. It's this one has battle damage. Otherwise, these are the same shields, same kind of straps and everything, same size. Straps on this battle damage version are a little bit darker brown, but otherwise exactly the same. And then this battle damage, you've got some black shading here and throughout for the blast marks, and then they've got some silver metallic scratch marks. This kind of looks like maybe from the Black Panther like you see in the movie, but overall I would say the blast pattern on the shield and everything is more reminiscent with how the shield looked towards the beginning of the movie after the altercation with Crossbones than towards the end of the movie when he was fighting Iron Man. Now, the second accessory was not included with the original figure, and this is an unmasked head. Now, like with previous Steve Rogers figures, this really looks nothing, absolutely nothing like Chris Evans. I don't know what it is about Chris Evans and why they can't seem to capture his likeness. Maybe they don't have the likeness rights to him or something. I don't know, but there is no resemblance to Chris Evans with this face sculpt. It's not a bad-looking head sculpt, and for like a comic book Steve Rogers, it makes a nice, head sculpt, but again, it just looks nothing like Chris Evans. And then to switch out, you just pop off the head like we always do, and you've got the ball joint, and you pop on the other head, the alternate head. It looks pretty good. Like I said, it's a nice looking head sculpt. It just doesn't look anything like the actor from the movie. So moving on to Iron Man, like with Captain America, the Civil War Iron Man is the exact same sculpt as the regular Civil War Iron Man. The red is a little bit darker on this battle damage version, and then you've got the blast effects throughout the figure. But otherwise, as far as articulation and everything, it's exactly the same as the regular version. And then you've got these blackened in black blast marks here, like up here on his right side of his chest and his shoulder, and on the left side of his helmet, and then down here on the upper left side of his leg, and you've got some metallic silver scratches here and up here on the chest as well. Now, like with the regular figure, we do get these blue translucent plastic blast effects that you can put on his hand or his feet for that matter to act as like repulsor blast or navigation or even jet boot blast effects. And these are done in just a blue translucent plastic. They are a little bit different than the regular versions because they don't have the white frosting like the regular versions had. And then this isn't really something that you're supposed to be able to do, but like on mine, this just came off. I think these are supposed to be glued, but on this one. It came off, so you can actually kind of remove those if you don't like those extra blast effects, and it kind of looks good for shooting his repulsor without this extra back piece. And then besides the blue ones, we also get a pair of yellow ones, same shape and everything. They're just done with an orange and yellow translucent plastic, so these are better to attach to the bottom of his feet for his jet boots. And then to attach them, the feet, you just plug them into the peg holes on the bottom of the feet. They got little tabs, and they just plug right in. And then for the hands, he's got little holes where the repulsor blasts are, and you just plug them in there. And then, like I said, if you want to try and remove those extra blast effects, you can, and they'll still plug right in. And then finally, for Iron Man, like with Captain America, we get an unmasked head sculpt as an alternate head. And this one looks a little bit like Robert Downey Jr., much closer than the Steve Rogers did to Chris Evans. It's not 100% dead on, but again, overall, it's pretty nice, and it also makes for a nice comic book Tony Stark head. And then to switch it out, just like with the Captain America figure, you pull off the head, it's attached with a ball joint, and you snap on the alternate head, and it should snap right on. And this head will obviously also fit on the unbattle damage version if you want to use it on that one. And I think it looks pretty good for the most part. And I was curious if this would fit on other Iron Man figures, so I've only tried it with this black and gold Marvel Now Iron Man figure, but it is the hole on the head is a little bit too big for the ball on the figure, so you can sit it on there, but it's going to sit on there pretty loosely. Moving on to Spider-Man, and frankly this is probably the main reason why you're buying this set, since this is our first access to the new movie version of Spider-Man. And I gotta say, overall I like the figure. At first, when I first saw pictures of this figure, I didn't think I was going to like it too much, but I actually like it much more than I thought I would. So first of all, I like how most of things like the webbing are actually sculpted in on this figure. The little spider on his chest is sculpted, the border around his eyes is sculpted. So there's a lot of sculpting, nice sculpting work on this figure. Now, yes, the spider symbol on his chest is not completely movie accurate. The legs are facing the wrong direction. My guess Hasbro went off concept art when they first started making this figure, and by the time they saw the final version, it was probably too late to do anything. And again, that's actually sculpted. It's not just painted on there. And that's such a minor thing that it doesn't really bother me that much. And then he's got the spider symbol on the back. Again, that's sculpted, not just painted. He's got these black lines that go across his back, which are sculpted, and down his arm. So again, I really like how that comes off looking. It gives the figure some really nice detail. Also, when comparing this figure to how he looks in the movie, besides the spider symbol on his chest being a little bit off, I would have to say that the red and the blue that they use is a bit darker than what we actually see in the movie. As I recall, the red and the blue on the costume in the movie is a bit more vibrant than what we see here on the figure. This one line here, it looks like it got a little bit sloppy with the black lines here on his neck, so that looks a little bit off there. But otherwise, I think they've done a pretty good job with the paint applications overall with the figure. And I like the eyes, I like how they came out looking, and I like the sculpting. I really like the sculpting of the webs on his mask. I think that looks really nice. And even like on his hands, you know, they sculpted in the line work on his fingers and everything. And then on the underside of his hands, he's got a lot of black there as a wash effect. I don't really like this left hand, which is a closed fist. I don't know what it is. It's something seems off about it. The right hand is in his web shooting pose, and that one doesn't bother me. But for some reason, I just don't really like that closed fisted hand on the left. Spider-Man does not come with any kind of accessory. He's actually packaged with Captain America's shield, since he steals it for a minute in the movie. But honestly, if you want to give him Cap's shield, you'd be better to give him the regular version without the battle damage, since when he steals it in the movie, it's not battle damaged. Now, as far as the mold goes for this figure, I don't know if I've heard some of you, when the pictures first started being posted for this figure, some of you were thinking this was a reuse of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 mold, and I don't have that figure, so I can't say for sure. I will tell you that his height-wise, he stands just a little bit, he stands just under 6 inches tall, and he's basically kind of in the middle of the two. So the recently released Ultimate Spider-Man, he's not as he's taller than that one, but then he's not as tall as the pizza-eating Spider-Man. So he kind of, size-wise, fits in between the two. So I actually like the height for this figure. I think it works well for the movie. But I can't honestly say if this is like using parts from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 or not. But definitely it's not a reuse of the pizza-eating Spider-Man or the Ultimate Spider-Man. And even though this figure does not come with an unmasked head like the other two figures in the set do, if you own this Ultimate Spider-Man figure that comes with the unmasked Peter Parker head, it will fit on this figure. Relation on the figure is good. The head you can turn left and you can turn right. It's on a ball hinge joint, so he can look down good and he can look back pretty good as well. Arms are attached with a ball hinge joint, so he can get his arm out good, and he's got good rotation. He's got that inner kind of joint like we often see with Spider-Man figures, so he's got extra movement there at the shoulders. He's got the bicep swivel. He's got a double hinged elbow, so good bending there. He's got swivels at the wrist, hinges on the hand, so good up and down movement there. He's got an ab crunch joint, so he can crunch down good and he can look back good there. He's got a waist swivel, legs attached with ball joints, so he can do the splits about that much. He can get his leg forward good, and he can do his leg kind of out and back like that. He's got a thigh swivel. He's got a double jointed knee, so good bending there at the knee. And then he's got hinges on the feet, so good up and down movement with the feet. And then, of course, he does have ankle pivot and 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet. And he has very dirty feet on the bottom. You can see a lot of black paint there on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so that's my review. So overall, I like this set. Yeah, 2 of the figures are just re-releases, but I think you get enough extra things with them. The unmasked Tony Stark head, the extra blast effects, even the battle damage Captain America shield I think is pretty cool. So, you know, that and then the fact that we're getting Spider-Man makes this set to me worth getting, at least if you're into the movie figures. I like the Spider-Man figure much more than I thought I originally would. I like the sculpting with the webs and everything. The articulation is good. So this set has seen a limited release, but should see a much wider release in August. You should start seeing it everywhere, including mass retail. Most e-tailers that haven't carried it yet will have it in August. So if you haven't gotten your hands on it yet, in August you'll be able to get it at places like Big Bad Toy Store and most mass retailers. So we'll have a full gallery of images for these figures up at marvelousnews.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. Also, if you haven't already, please follow me on my Facebook and or Twitter pages. I'll have links to those in the video description below. And until next time, I'll catch you later.